Hey guys, I am Kayla. Welcome to my new channel. I am so excited about this journey. I've been wanting to do a YouTube video or channel, I should say, for a long time, but I honestly never knew how to do it. Didn't know where to start. Felt very discouraged and thought, who is going to look at my videos, especially with so many YouTube channels out there? However, the focus of my channel is a little bit different, and I'm sure there's tons of channels out there, but I really do hope that you guys give me the opportunity and that, of course, you subscribe to my channel. So to give you an idea of what my channel is about, it is about empowerment. It is about growth. It is about really finding yourself through very difficult situations and challenges, how to really create a life that you hope and desire for, even as a single mom, because there's so many challenges that we face day to day when it comes to co-parenting, if you have that option, when it comes to just doing yourself most of the parenting tasks that are required. Safe to say that any single parent, mothers or fathers, would probably say that they do about at least 85% of the work, depending on your co-parenting situation. For me, of course, I will go over a little bit about my past, how I became a single mom, and a little bit about where I am today and how I overcame some of those challenges. But I do want to say, that I am not one to really celebrate the whole single mother thing, unless obviously you're forced in a situation where you have no choice. But, for me, some may agree, some may not agree, and it is very taboo, and it's a very difficult subject to talk about. But we want what we want sometimes, and I know we have the whole single mothers by choice. And while that is great, for me personally, I do believe that you need both parents. It brings a different element to parenting. You need both. You need a masculine figure, whether you have a son or a daughter, and you also need a feminine figure in your child's life. For more of the nourishment and the love and more, women by nature, that's what we do, right? We're nurturers by heart. We want to hug our children and we want to nurture. And sometimes there's a boundary there where disciplining can become a problem. Sometimes we give too much to our kids because we feel guilty. I'm guilty of that. I always want to give more because there's a part of me that feels like, well, I have a daughter, she's 9. But it's like, okay, she doesn't have her father full time, right? We do have a co-parenting situation, but not ideally of what you would think. She is always with me. I don't believe in separating 1 week there, 1 week here. I don't like what that does to children. And I feel that's very unstable. Now, that is for me. That's what works for him and I. That doesn't work for everyone, and I'm not judging. If you have a situation where 1 week your child is with you, the following week the child's with the father or the other parent, then that works for you, then wonderful. But for me, it does not. One, I feel like I want her to have structure. And sometimes, especially if the other parent is married or has other children, right, or another family, and you're trying to create certain procedures and certain standards in your home, the messaging is all over the place. And for me, I like it simple. I don't want that. I'd rather, she does spend time with her father, but at the end of the day, we're not splitting 1 week here, 1 week there. Also, selfishly, she's my only child. And for me, I want to spend as much time as I can with her because, guys, in 9 years, she'll be 18. Like, 9 years will fly by. So I want to make sure that I spend as much time with her. She's already going to school. She does dance on weekends. We're busy. And so for me, I'm like, I want to cherish these moments. And selfishly, you know, this is not his first child. So he's been able to enjoy another child before. For me, I'm like, no, I want my child to be with me. But of course, I understand the importance of her having that relationship with her father. And for me, I am fine with that. Now, when she gets older, or even if she asks, hey, can I spend time with my dad or sleep over at my dad's house, then fine, I will. But also, schedule wise, it doesn't work for us because he does have a crazy schedule. He is a tech ops for the airport, and so his schedule is all over the place. So it works out for us. However, for those that do have the 1 week here, 1 week there, if that works for you, great. But for me, you know, it just didn't work. So going more into details as to what I'm gonna kind of go through in my channel, and what I really want you to experience is just an outlet where you can, again, learn, grow, you know, recommend ideas, any suggestions that you have, any challenges that you have, how you overcome those challenges. I want to talk about finances as well. For me, it's so critical as a single mom to make sure that financially I'm responsible. Because yes, while, you know, I do get some child support, still the majority of the responsibility falls on me when it comes to maintaining a roof over our heads, when it comes to day-to-day, managing the money, activities, dance, all of that. That is all me. So with that being said, I'm going to definitely talk about that. For me, I look at finances in a very finite way, and for me, simpler is better. Also, you know, I'll talk about challenges as far as like the changes that you see your children go through, some of the dumb stuff that people say sometimes or comment. It's very difficult, you know. Nothing reminds you more of being a single mom than being a single mom. In other words, being called by your ex's last name, going to parties and events where you see both parents there or you see the father there. You know, it's everywhere, but you have to learn how to deal with it. At first, it was difficult for me, but now I'm good. I know how to handle it. And one of the things that I don't do is say, I wish, poor, you know, my daughter's name, poor this, poor that. I don't do that. Like, we're blessed, you know, I'm very fortunate. You know, I am very advanced in my career. I'm an executive in HR for a tech company. And, you know, to be quite honest with you, you know, I try to make sure my daughter doesn't lack in anything. So sometimes, I mean, I hate to say this, but sometimes, you know, she has more than she would in a home where there's two parents. I'll give you an example. So I know someone that was going through a very troubled time in her marriage, and her children were being exposed to a lot of fighting and argument. You know, that stresses children out. They feel like they have to pick a side. And also, that's not the environment I want my child to live in. So one thing that we do have that I value, especially being in my 40s, guys, is peace. Peace is non-negotiable. Peace is not bought. And peace is key for your children and for yourself to be able to be an effective mom. So for me, I don't negotiate peace. That's the one thing that is so important. So, you know, I know sometimes, you know, I never really say, oh, you know, she's so lucky, or, oh, they're so blessed. I never know what's going on in people's homes, and appearances are deceiving. So for me, I'm not going to base it off that. I'm just going to focus on my home, my family, and my responsibilities. I'll also talk about marriage. You know, do I want to get married one day? Dating, you know, what does that look like for me? And also talk about traveling. You know, we do a big trip every 3 years outside of the country. And when I mean outside, it's not anywhere in North America. Normally, it's outside of the country. So I'll talk more about that. We're actually going in a few weeks to Japan, to Tokyo. And so we're very excited about that. So I'll talk about that, and I'll probably do a little vlogging there. But the message today is that one, you're not alone. As a single mom, single parent, single father, there's tons of single fathers out there who are great dads. I want to say that. So you're not alone. Two, you can do whatever you need to do, but it is about prioritizing. You need to be able to prioritize and be structured in your schedule. Three, remember, your children are always looking. They're always observing you. They're always looking to see how you behave, how you react. Trust me, I'm not a saint. There's times where, especially road rage, I I have said some F words here and there. But, our children, that whole thing about do as I say, not as I do, that's a lie. Like, children observe everything that you do and will act like you. So for me, that's key. For me, I'm very faithful. God comes first. We pray every day before we start our day. For me, that's so much part of my peace and our peace and at home. So praying is very important. But last and not least, just really making sure you take the time for yourself. Take the time to take care of you. When your kids are in school, if you can, when you have time for yourself, if your child is with the other parent, go take care of yourself. Get a massage, get your nails done, go to the gym, go for a walk, whatever it is that you need to be healthy. Because if you're not healthy, all of that intertwines with your brain, with your spirit, with your body. And if you don't feel good and you're a single parent and most of the burden falls on you, guess what? It's going to affect your children. So I'm going to leave it here, but I will be recording new videos every Friday or Saturday. I do hope you subscribe. Please put in the chat whatever it is you want me to answer or any questions you may have if you are living that single parent life. And I really do hope that this channel makes a difference. So for now, I will leave it here. Thank you so much for listening, and I will have a new video next weekend, so stay tuned for that. Thank you guys. Bye now.